Welcome to the part 2 of the Formula One. All you want to know if you are a Formula One fan, Formula One had learned how to go faster, but it had not learned how to survive. By the early 1960s, the cars were no longer the same. They were faster, lighter, more powerful, but the tracks had not changed. Races were still held on narrow roads, through forests, past houses, along public streets. Trees stood just beside the track. Walls waited only inches away. Sometimes there was nothing at all, just open ground. There were no proper barriers, no safe runoff areas. If a driver made a mistake, there was nowhere to go. At that time, danger was normal. Drivers accepted it. It was part of racing. Before a season began, some drivers would quietly prepare their wills. They knew the risk. They just chose to race anyway, because in Formula One, speed always came first. Then came 1961, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Wolfgang von Trips was fighting for the championship. During the race, his car touched another. At high speed, it lost control. The car lifted into the air and crashed into the crowd. Von Trips lost his life. Several spectators died too. For the first time, the danger was no longer only inside the car. It had reached the people watching. It was a moment that shocked the sport. But racing continued, because stopping was never considered an option. The years moved forward. Cars became even faster. But safety stayed almost the same. Drivers still raced with little protection. Tracks still had trees and walls beside them. Medical help was slow. Sometimes it was not even ready. If something went wrong, drivers were on their own. In 1967, another tragedy struck, the Monaco Grand Prix. Ferrari driver Lorenzo Bandini crashed. His car caught fire. The flames burned for too long. Help arrived, but it was too late. Bandini later died from his injuries. This time, the danger was clear. Not just the crash, but what happened after it. Formula One was not ready to save its drivers. Then came 1968, a year that changed everything. Jim Clark, one of the greatest drivers the sport had ever seen. Calm, precise, effortless behind the wheel. He was not just fast, he was different. But during a race in Germany, something went wrong. His car left the track, and just like that, he was gone. His death shook the entire racing world. If someone like Jim Clark could die so suddenly, what chance did anyone else have? Now the questions could not be ignored. Drivers began to think differently, not just about winning, but about surviving. One man began to speak louder than the rest, Jackie Stewart. Stewart had seen too much, too many crashes, too many losses. He understood that Formula One had reached a limit. He started asking for change, better safety, better tracks, better medical care. Simple things that did not exist at the time. But not everyone agreed. Some people believed danger was part of Formula One. They thought it made the sport exciting. Some even called Stewart weak. They said he was trying to make racing safe. But Stewart was not afraid of racing. He was afraid of losing more lives. Slowly, other drivers began to support him. They spoke up. They questioned the circuits. They refused to race on tracks that were too dangerous. This had never happened before. For the first time, drivers were pushing back. One of the most feared tracks was the Nürburgring. Long, narrow, unforgiving. It ran through forest with hundreds of corners, blind turns, no room for mistakes. As cars became faster, the track became more dangerous. Drivers knew it, and they started to say it. Change did not happen overnight. But it began. Barriers were added. Metal guardrails replaced open edges. Runoff areas slowly appeared. Medical teams became part of every race. Safety rules were introduced, step by step. Formula One started to evolve. But even as safety improved, the cars did not slow down. Engineers kept pushing. More speed, more grip, more power. The sport was changing again. Not because of drivers this time, but because of technology. By the early 1970s, a new idea was forming. Something that would change Formula One forever. A way to make cars faster, without just adding more power. A discovery that would reshape racing. Formula One had started to understand safety, but it was about to enter a new battle. A battle of design, of engineering, of ideas. Because the next generation of cars, it would change everything. And once again, Formula One would have to ask the same question. How fast is too fast? The story continues.